Hello and welcome. This is a charity drive. I am trying to dish out as much advice and tips for early intermediate guitar players as I can. I'm Ben. 10 years ago, I graduated with a degree in guitar performance. By going to school, I now understand the crap out of guitar. The charity drive is only going to last a little bit longer, so if you have questions for me, if there's things you want to know or understand about the guitar, get them into the comments. It might be last call for those things, because I'm about to get super crazy busy with a baby. We got 22 days left, but right now, today's topic, love guitar, hate performing. Let's talk about that. How do I even broach this thing? I personally love guitar, but I don't enjoy performing. It's just something I realized about myself after pushing myself to get through music school and to get the degree. I just know it's like, it is not what I like to do. I don't like to get up on stage and perform. I don't like to get out my guitar and serenade somebody. I don't like jamming. I just happen to love the guitar. I love understanding it, messing around with it. I love discovering new things. But like the whole performing thing, I'm just not so sure about. So I asked Reddit one day, r/guitar lessons. I love guitar, hate performing. Does anyone else feel this way? And the response was actually quite warm, I suppose. People do resonate with the idea that performing is one of the things that you can do with guitar. Like, I think you can enrich your life without having to put the show on the road or whatever. At the very least, it's a distinct skill set that like you may or may not need to look into. So this isn't like questions per se, but let me look through the responses from Reddit and we'll highlight some of like the really good ones. DB Kenny 426, let me know. If all you want out of guitar is to play only for your own enjoyment, that's fine. Like 103 people are like, yeah, that's the answer. The broken love. I try to explain this to my parents. It does not register at all. They're like, you should play at church or do a show for people. And I'm like, I didn't learn guitar so I could give my hobby to you. I learned for my amusement, not to appease you, which they don't usually like hearing. I totally understand the broken love. Totally understand. Conjunction 2021. Don't let it be missed, but they made a similar post, only about not motivated to learn any songs. Quite a few people said maybe I wasn't a guitar player. Oh, that's rough. So, a month on of playing the piano, and I want to play only songs. Still love my guitar. Guitar is one tough instrument, and I would never criticize anyone for not having guts. I wonder if even the greatest players would ever admit they are masters at the thing. Oh, that's interesting. That kind of went in a different direction than I was expecting. Guitar, yeah, guitar is different than piano. I think piano is way harder than guitar. Tank's Stellenchiller, if you don't want to perform, you don't have to. Enjoy playing the guitar the way you want to. Me personally, I would love to perform more often, but I have massive anxiety problems, but I don't want to give up. I hope they get better if I force myself on stage enough. I had even like made a response that's like, if you want to do performing and something's holding you back, like you should try to figure out what that is, like what that anxiety is, and you can work it out. Shahid Halud, 1111. Find it pretty easy to jam with others, but I still get nervous at open mic with all the OGs and pretty women watching me. No hurry. Confidence is a huge part, but keep trying to play with others. I get so much better. Performing reminds me of sports sometimes. A little competitive and egocentric, but fun. Dopamine blast. Propanolol is amazing for nerves. Adrenaline blocker. Okay, some secrets of the trade over there. Shahid Halud, 1111, has a really good point, which is playing with others is a rapid way to improve. This is kind of true of any skill, though, like if you do it in community and with other people, like you just do so much better, so much faster. And that would be a really strong reason to push yourself in that way. I suppose it doesn't necessarily need to be in front of people if that's performing, but for me, jamming is not just performing, and like that's what gets me. I actually get like bored jamming. You get into a song and then you play it, and it's just like, okay, what's next? Bo44X says, just tossing this out. I plunk around on a guitar at home, but played drums professionally for many years. I had the worst stage fright imaginable when I first started, and I pretty much hated playing live, which I had to do 6 nights a week. Wow, that's a real professional. In my head, other drummers were lurking in the audience, talking about how much I sucked. Then I realized something. Most people in an audience don't know who's making what sound, let alone participate in some kind of critique of the players. Most people hear the whole. They do not hear the parts. It's just a wall of rhythm and melody coming at them. In addition to that, most audience are actually rooting for the band. Pretty much no one is out there hoping you'll fail. They're having fun participating with everyone else. Once I realized this, my anxiety pretty much disappeared and I actually enjoyed it. Bo is like totally right. Everybody is there to have a good time. If you have like or some kind of Grinch in the audience, like me watching somebody on stage and like trying to compare themselves to it, like that's such a rare person. You just don't have to worry about them at all. Yeah, Conjunction 2021. Yeah, nobody hoping you fail. That's so true. People just want to have a good time. And like you rocking it on stage, like is what people want to see. Ubalaba Lobo is like, oh, does anybody else feel like that? He's answering that question. And he's like, plenty more people feel that way. That's why drugs are so popular. You have to beat your mind to submission by doping it. All right. Gray Tone Oliver Jones. I teach guitar, and some students love the idea of being able to perform at some point, while others like to do it just for themselves. It means different things to different people. Yeah. Bose Meist. I love performing. I miss performing. Oh, get back out there. I'm trying to see if I can scroll down and find some of these like more recent ones. Beach Ram here at the bottom. I found after the first few years of performing that I really didn't like it as much as creating music in the studio. It wasn't anxiety. I just hated playing covers and loved the creative process more. I think there are plenty of people who are just fine being studio musicians. There's a distinction. So like like maybe this is a good point to like bring up some of my history. So like in music school, like I had to perform, at least like whenever I was learning all the stuff that I did for guitar. I also did a lot of sound tech things, so I could be in the studio and I was doing a lot of more of the nerdy behind the computer stuff. But for the guitar degree, like I was in a Beatles tribute band. I was in mostly a lot of jazz, and I performed a lot of jazz because in music school, you have to pick two tracks. Either you're going to be a classical guitar player, and in my mind, that's just becoming a record player for notation, or you can get into jazz. I like the idea of going to the jazz track because I just thought music theory was so interesting and so much more elaborate and woven into learning jazz. So I picked that for school. I don't necessarily enjoy playing jazz or listening to it. I respect it. Maybe want to get back into like listening to people play jazz, but like again, like I just kind of this is not totally my thing. But after school, I actually, after kind of being done having to perform for school reasons, I ended up discovering live streaming, and live streaming actually hits this really interesting middle ground where it's not like getting up on stage, like schlepping your gear up to some stage where you're going to go perform. Instead, it's like you're at home and you're able to like set up your environment, and it's just kind of you kind of dinking around. People can show up. And so like there's something about that is attractive. And it's not exactly just being in the studio and only showing people the finished, polished product. It's like people showing up in kind of the middle raw part. The live streaming was pretty interesting. I have a playlist of me with the live streams. Four Big Wheels asks, have you ever just jammed with the drummer just for fun? No. I haven't like just like sat in a room and just like tried to see what would happen. I don't know. I get self-conscious and bored. Self-conscious and bored, and that's a pretty strong combo. Elichalita, yep. I never want to perform. I just want to play for myself or jam with friends. Totally legit. Most Cantaloupe 383. I absolutely feel this way. It's just because I'm shy and don't want to be up front. I'm happy to stand in the back and play bass. Bass was easier than guitar too. So when you're used to playing guitar, bass is very relaxing and low pressure for gigs. That's certainly interesting. Yeah, I feel like the bass is less complicated, but like because like rhythm isn't exactly my strong suit, and like hitting things at the right time isn't my strong suit, I feel like it'd be noticeable, me being a bad bass player. J-Rock 1970, I panicked the first time and still freeze up once in a while, but like to share my music and push myself out of my comfort zone, which is like legit. You should do that. I mean, like music school was good for me getting out of my comfort zone. This Complex Major 5479 kind of gets the boredom part, the like, I feel you. Performances are rehashing something you've done over and over, methodically, mechanically, and memorized. Playing for fun / release is an exercise of creativity, emotion, improvisation. If you want to get past the jitters of playing in front of crowds, try looking at a nearby solitary person in the crowd and slowly let more into your field of view. The old-fashioned way was 2 or 3 beers or a shot or 2 of alcohol. Usually the audience is forgiving if you make a few mistakes as long as you look relaxed and into it. Man, looking relaxed I've definitely been called out for not being chill. Or if you want to throw caution to the wind and your candle into a bonfire, score some cocaine. The entire 80s was on coke. All right, Reddit, you're definitely delivering on the what people say about Reddit. But this, try looking at a nearby solitary person in the crowd, just one person, and slowly let more and more people in. That's really interesting advice. That's something that you could almost practice. If it's like, oh, if I could play to that person, go into a park and be like, I'm playing to you. I don't know. That's kind of, hear me, invite me in.
See me. She can't see me from that angle.
Endless Guitars 2024 checking me on the Reddit. Not sure why this is in the lessons forum, but as a professional guitar teacher and guitarist, I understand your plight. I'm happy to jam with almost anyone, which is a skill you should keep working on. But performing or entertaining people has never held my interest. Yeah, so, I appreciate everybody who saw the cry of love guitar but hate performing and felt compelled enough to comment about it. Thank you, those folks on Reddit. If you ever find this, appreciate that. Okay, so one of the things that I should probably address is that I have a bachelor's degree in guitar performance. So it's like, how did that happen? If I don't care for performing, why did it take getting all the way up to a bachelor's degree for me to be like, nah? And I think what it comes down to is when you're an early intermediate guitar player. And so I define that as your last beginner lesson. You get through beginner lessons and boom, you're an intermediate guitar player. That moment, we talked about it before, and the WTF is intermediate guitar. Because you get dropped off in your playing, because it becomes so quickly that you're out on your own and you got to figure everything out by yourself as an intermediate player, you kind of end up with this really big decision when you're an early intermediate player, which is, okay, I just finished beginner lessons. This is what happened to me. I was 15. I taught myself online, and I looked at it, and I was like, okay, I'm pretty good at this thing. I picked it up really fast. I really like it. I may be this good, but I want to be this good. How do I get as good as I want to be? At that time, it seems like the only way to get as good as I wanted was to basically pursue it like a professional. I did it maybe half, 1 foot in, 1 foot out, but I basically was like, okay, well, I'll get private lessons and that'll lead to music school. I'll pay for music school, go to even more music school. And, 10 years later of music school, it's this is what I spent my time on. So I guess I'll get the degree I can. To rewind the clock, when I was an early intermediate player, I probably would have been satisfied with my playing before getting a performance degree. I'm a little bit frustrated that I had to make that decision so early. I had to make the decision okay, being able to play real good is something I want to pursue, but it meant I spent my 20s going down the professional path just to get good at guitar. And it's I don't think I wouldn't trade those experiences for another option, but I think it's just way too soon. It's way too soon to make that choice. I don't know if other people have this, maybe they have a different opinion about it than I do, but I know I wanted to be a certain level. Literally the only option that I saw was becoming professional. At the time, that's what it seemed like. I don't think that has to be the case. I find that a little bit frustrating, and I think that's why I ended up making Beyond Beginner Guitar. Because when you finish beginner lessons, there's actually things that you can learn right then that will help you keep on going. You're not going to have to drop everything in your life and become a professional guitar player to keep that progress. That's kind of why I made Beyond Beginner Guitar. I wanted to plug up that hole right after beginner lessons. I want there to be a bridge. I want there to be a ramp that takes somebody that was like me when I was 15, that instead of having to make the choice to become professional to get as good as they want, I think that they could start on this path, take Beyond Beginner Guitar, and learn what only I was able to learn by going through music school and doing all those things. I take music theory, I break it down into first principles, I use that to relearn the guitar so that it's really understandable. It's like it's comprehensible, it mentally fits in your head in a much better way, and you can just really grasp it and understand it. Beyond Beginner Guitar, it's for this reason. Going from just like vaguely understanding how the guitar operates and what it looks like to just like totally getting it, understanding how the shapes are moved and how to explore it and be confident inside of it. That comes from what I learned getting through music school and going back and thinking about this moment, this kind of crossroads that I had a long time ago to think about it. Since I brought up Beyond Beginner Guitar, there's a link down below and you can go to this page where you can purchase Beyond Beginner Guitar. If you do, one, use this promo code to make sure you get the discount for the beta version that it is now. And I will give $10. If you do that, I will give $10 to my favorite charity, Give Directly, because that's what we're doing here. Let's take a look at it. The charity goal is by the end of the year, I reach $1,880. The way that I grabbed that number was Give Directly told me this past month that my lifetime giving was $1,880. And I wanted to, before the end of the year, double that. Make this number $3,670. $3,760? One of those two. And so that's what we're doing. Sharing a little bit with Give Directly. There's 22 days left before the end of the year. This $188 is because on Give Tuesday, you got Cyber Monday and you got Giving Tuesday, Give Directly had this opportunity where they would get 50% more of my donation. So I was like, you know what? Hey, I'll get us bumped up a little 10% to get us in that direction and take advantage of that because they got a little bit more than 188 by doing that. And that's what I wanted to do. If you want to help me reach this goal, you can either purchase the guitar course if you're an early intermediate guitar player, or just an intermediate guitar player that wants to get unstuck and learn these things. If that's not you, you can share this with a person that you know that is interested in getting better at guitar, or just generally share the videos. Liking and sharing and all that kind of stuff has the potential to help us reach the end. If you have a question for me, this is maybe the last call. We'll see. Put your comments in and your questions, and I will see if I can answer them in future videos. That's it for me. Have a great holiday. If you don't see me, it is because I have a baby and I am basically a zombie, a very happy zombie, and that'll be crazy. So anyways, I appreciate you guys. Appreciate your help doing something good. And I really hope Beyond Beginner Guitar solves your problems here, solves your early intermediate problems and gives you a lot of aha moments. So anyways, I'll talk to you the next one. Bye.